if you know, or would like to share, what land are you joining today from?
I'm on Bunurong.
Bunurong. Is that how you?
Yeah, I'm
Beautiful.
Bunurong as well.
Wurundjeri Woiwurrung.
Yep.
Same.
Nice. I learn something new every time. I stay to my own little pocket of Victoria sometimes, so it's nice to branch out and learn new. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Is anybody got a diversity moment to share, or a safety moment? So this is the time to share. If you've come across any initiatives, if you've had maybe a negative or a positive experience when it comes to diversity inclusion, that you'd like to share with the group, and we can learn from, or we'll hear from you.
I have one just quickly, Heidi, if no one else has, because I don't want to take over. So if anyone else has anything.
No, and we can always share
Okay.
multiple.
I can share something.
You go then, Anita.
I was just going to share, we just did our Have Your Say survey today. It's only just come out, and there's a whole section now on disability and what disabilities people have, and whether they do have one but they're not willing to disclose, and like it's just so well set out so that anyone that wants to identify but doesn't want to say and everything, it's all in there, and this is all confidential as well. That it just, I don't know, it raised my hopes for the future, and that the organisation can hopefully start to understand the needs of people more in this space. So it was just so reassuring.
Oh, I love to hear that. So I haven't heard about the survey. So I'm always consumed with People Matters surveys and culture audits and stuff like that. Is it something run through work?
Yeah, through work. So they do, it's like it's not a culture survey, it's more a climate survey, how people are feeling at this point in time about the organisation, and it's got all sorts of questions about how you feel about safety, how you feel about leadership, all sorts of questions like that. And obviously at the end they were trying to profile the workforce who's responding more than they have in the past. So on our people system, unfortunately, People Central doesn't really have much data that relates to breaking up people with a disability. And also, Elisa, it had breaking up people with caring responsibilities into different types of caring, like breaking it all down into about 10 different criteria. So a really good step forward.
It'll be interesting what they do with the data too. I know myself, having a disability, I shy away from surveys sometimes. Being a minority, sometimes I get I don't know the right word for it. So if I answer that I identify as a disability, but then I answer the rest of the questions and it shows, 90% of people with a disability feel like this in another question. It really it identifies me as somebody with a disability in survey. So it's interesting that they've popped that in a lot of other data as well. I like that.
It is. It's good. I mean, at least they can start to understand the needs of staff, hopefully.
And hopefully implement it. It'd be interesting to see what they do with the results after they've got them. Elisa, I'd love to hear what you were going to share as well.
Just very quickly, I just because poor Sam and Jason copped my rant on Friday morning. I was at just our local supermarket, obviously running in for my stash of Pepsi Max to get me through the day, and I walked in and there was a security guard standing at the front of the store, and a whole lot of school kids, because it was just before it was about 8:15 in the morning, so all the school kids were coming in, and this security guard spoke. There was two kids that walked in front of me, and he spoke to these two young boys really, really badly, and I mean really badly, to a point where I sort of stopped and was quite shocked, telling them to get out of the store if they had their bags, and they had to leave their bags at the front of the store if they were going to enter the store. So I sort of gained my composure, and I thought, what do I do? Because the two kids, and they probably would have only been, I don't know, maybe year 8 and year 9, were compliant, and they took their bags out and came back into the store. And I actually didn't want to engage with, what do they say, don't argue with an idiot. So I walked past the security guard and went straight up to them, and I asked these two young boys, I said, are you okay? And they sort of looked at me, in a bit of shock. And I said, are you okay? And they said yes. And I said, no one is allowed to speak to you in that manner. And so emotional, makes me so angry. And I said, I want you to know that it's not okay for people to speak to you that badly. And I want you both to have a really good day and know that there are people in your corner. And one of them turned around and goes, oh, thanks, miss, and then walked off, and which was really cute. And anyway, so I went and did my shopping, came back, and this security guard pulled me aside. And I tried to explain to him, because he asked me if I was a teacher from their school. And I tried to explain to him that, if we're teaching our young people, one, to accept being spoken that way or being treated as criminals from the moment that they walk in a store, what other option do they have as growing up? Because that's what they learn to believe about themselves. And he just didn't get it. So I'm in the process of formulating some sort of letter to Safeway just to again reinforce my opinions. But for me, it was just that human rights advocacy that I hold so dear to my heart. And I think that it's really important that when we see inappropriate behaviour like that we call it out. And in this instance, my priority was making sure that those two kids were okay, and really not spending that time, because I don't think I was going to change the opinion of the person who was the perpetrator of that sort of abuse. But I think that, my message is that if we see it, call it, and just make sure people are okay, so long as we're not endangering our own selves, I guess, in the process. So that was my little story.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, Elisa.
Thank you.
That was just it's quite difficult sometimes to be that brave, but doing the right thing. And I think you're right in there's some people that I'm learning that lately, that people just sometimes don't think like me. That it's that you won't change that, but you probably made a real impact on those kids and the next generation. I've been really mindful about it lately. I've been getting really frustrated with my circle of influence, if you will. So things that are out of my control, or minds that I can't change, and I've kind of flipped it into nurturing the next generation and kind of fostering that. Even this week, going to a girl's birthday party at school, and my kids go, yeah, let's go into the pink aisle and get her a present. And I've been actively going, no, let's get this science kid, or let's get, just really trying. And they did. We got just a different. So it's just about what can we influence, what's outside our control, and what can we make a difference in, and that just shows that as well. Thank you for sharing. So first up on our agenda, you might have to read it out to me, Elisa.
So between microphone and minutes, we have the toolkit update, Heidi. Just so you know, just to give you an update, we've had no inquiries come through in the inquiries email about it. So I'm running it again in this newsletter. So is there anything else do you think we can do to promote it?
I think we need to explain it in more detail in the newsletter. I think if people haven't taken it up, I'd take that as people may not understand or may not see the benefits, or what can we add in there that might be the grab, and the call to action.
Yep. Could it be a video? Get our heads. One of our strong points is probably our passion and our enthusiasm about the program. So I wonder if it is a video piece promoting it. Just because I find when I do, people like toolkit, and when I go, oh, it's actually this, and this. Oh, cool. So I wonder if that's the kind of connection piece. Is that the?
Yeah. So before it came out, I talked to Elaine Dixon at GWW, and she was really interested to see what was in it. I was way too early. I think I copied someone in on it. I missed the newsletter because I was trying to close off all my work in the transition. So apologies for that. If it's out, I'm happy to send a note to Elaine and say, hey, remember that email I sent you a while ago? If Toolkit's now out, send me a link to it, and I can showcase it to her. She's the diversity and inclusion manager at Greater Western Water, and she would be really keen to have a look.
And it's the same with our diversity and inclusion person. I spoke to them about it. I'm not sure what to give them though, I'll have to be honest.
Yeah. So whether we have a maybe a bit of a one-pager explaining or that video link piece that we can actually share within our network. So tapping people on the shoulder with the info, maybe that's the missing. And I know Central Highlands Water is absolutely keen, but I'm also probably wanting to put us second on the list because it is a program led by me. But whether is that in the past, can people trial their own programs first?
Oh, yeah, God, yes.
Okay. Well, then put us down.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got to eat our own dog food, right?
Yeah. No. I just didn't know. I'm like, is it a good thing? Like, being first? Yeah.
Never trust a chef that won't eat his own food. All right. So, or her own food. So, yeah, 100%, right? We've got to, that way we stand in the customer's shoes as well, because when we're making it live in our own organisation, we know how people respond to it, and you know, we can then use that feedback to go and do some tweaking as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important. Plus, it gives you a use case. It doesn't matter whose name's on the use case. You know, in my view, no one's going to make that association other than people in Central Highlands Water or people who know that you work for Central Highlands Water. So I'm all for it. Do it.
Okay, perfect. Well, then, is there a formal process to sign up for the trial? So is it a verbal thing? Is it a form we have to fill out? Like, what is the actual process?
No, so you can, if you just want to, like, once we've got, I think that the objective was to try and get 2 people or 2 organisations locked in, Heidi. So I guess the next stage is once we've locked in those 2 organisations, we haven't actually purchased the kit yet. So we need to go and do that purchase process. But I've just written down in the minutes that I'll put together a 1-page flyer. I mean, look, all of the information was in the newsletter, and and I've linked everything that we've got links to with regards to the tech in the Knowledge Hub. But if I do up just a 1-page flyer with some pictures, I think that'll probably help, and that'll be just really, really simple. And then, but I do like your idea of maybe yourself and Anita could maybe just do, like, it doesn't have to be long. I'm talking about 40-second video where, you know, you could both just do a recording to say, this is what it is, this is what it's about. And we can also add that into, like, that can be a link in the flyer, but it can also be something that we link to in the newsletter, because again, if you wanted to put that together, it's a 30-second grab that gives someone attention that they don't have to read about it. I specifically asked Bridget to not put D&I, to put diversity and inclusion in the descriptor as well. So I think that if we could have something like that, that'd be brilliant. And I've got, I was just saying to Sam and Jason this morning, we've got Ben, our video person, has put together like an intro and a close for all of our videos to make them look a little bit more professional, but still not so polished that it looks like we've gone out and spent $45,000 on a video. So I think that if you two collectively want to just do something, send it to me. I'll edit it. I'll put the close and end on it, and then we can, and that's easy enough to do. So
I wonder if we could do it on it. So if we're doing the two toolkits, and Central Highlands Water's one, and I'm thinking we could easily get another one just by tapping on the shoulder. I wonder when the toolkit does come to Central Highlands Water and I have the actual pieces in my hand.
Yeah.
Actually holding them, demoing, like, this is what you get as well in the videos.
Okay.
How are we going? How's the process going with purchase? So I provided you, Elisa, the links and the purchasing links, and the holder of the money. I haven't purchased anything yet, but I mean, if you want myself and Sam to, we can start pursuing that and get those things ordered. I'm assuming it's not going to be a huge time issue. It's just, I suppose it's those little things. It's like, you know, going out and sourcing the colouring book and the fidget spinners and stuff like that. So I'll probably have to come back to you and say, do you have any preferred space that we go to, or do you want me just to go to somewhere random and we can find those things? Yep.
Yeah.
But the bigger
the big
things are
ones
good.
we can get.
I
They're
didn't
just straight
know.
online.
Yeah, so so the controller that Pete shared with us last time that I need to purchase for myself because it was so cool. The was it Xbox?
Yeah.
The Xbox controller. So that's JB Hi-Fi, and there's a few other creditors. Vision Australia's on there. And some aren't online shops. That's all. So there might be a little bit of time.
Yep, that's fine. We can do that. And I think that what we'll do is because we've said I'll get obviously duplicate of everything. And then once we've got it, we can work out how to package it. You know, do we want to go out and get like a, I don't know, go to Bunnings and get like a hard case that everything can just go into, and we can transport it in that way. Until I see the size of the kit that's going into it, then I won't know. But yeah, I think that's a good idea, Heidi. So I've just written it down in the minutes. Easy done.
I had a bit of a thought too the other day. Do we ever security tag our items? So when we have these trials going out and we want the items back, how do we keep track of our items or where they are? Like, is there a tagging system, or it's just trust?
No, there's not. But we could possibly, because we'll mark them up as part of our, I suppose, our asset register. We could possibly, particularly for the more expensive stuff, I think we could definitely put we could take them somewhere and get them engraved, for example, maybe with a contact on them. I don't know.
Property of kind of thing.
And I guess the only other thing is the requirement for testing and tagging sitting with us, or does that sit with the Water Corp that's trialing it? So that would be the only other question I'd have with regards to testing, tagging. And look, the other stuff, I think that say for instance things like the colouring book and the fidget spinners, they would stay, and then we would just replace them for each trial. So I don't think that's a major issue because we're only talking small amount of money there. So yeah, let us think on that. I'm not really sure because we haven't. I know that historically, like when we've had the things like the AR headsets, we not marked those because we've actually gifted those to the Water Corps. So I'll just have to, I'll think on that one. Easy.
And even if there's a buy option, like so if a Water Corp comes back and say we absolutely love that hearing loss system, can we keep it? Is there the option of selling it to them at a price and then replacing it again type thing? Or we can get to that when they go out. But I wondered too whether so our what are we calling it? Our how we did it at a Marvel Stadium last year?
The conference. Our members conference. Yep.
Yeah. It would be a great opportunity to do a stall there with a kit as well. So maybe we coincide. I know we said 2 months per Water Corp having it. So if we get it out, so if we get it out and time it so we have one of them back for the conference. Yep. Perfect. That would be great too.
So the first protocol then is me getting out and ordering and stuff, and then once we've done that, then we'll work out how to distribute it.
Yep.
Perfect. Yep. Okay.
Pete, I have a question for you. The controller that you shared with us, are you a user of it? Do you know?
No, I had. We were going to look at getting. Well, I was looking into getting one for our CCTV van. We have a older gentleman working with us who's got really bad carpal tunnel, and a lot of the mouses and that actually, because of where his hand sits over them, it's not good for his wrists. But we've had a few issues with the actual keyboard and the CCTV because they're in German, we can't disconnect the keyboard and that, so it's actually a little bit more complicated than what I had first anticipated. So I haven't actually looked any further into getting one for us. But no, I just come across that when we were sort of looking at different avenues for. I think I had keyboards and mouses originally. And, that's when it popped up. The only thing is, it is just like a board to plug things into. So we may have to look at what options we can plug in there to make as part of the kit. Because if we give them that, we're kind of giving them a power board. But with nothing to
Yes,
plug
I
into.
wondered if it was wireless or like how it. So until we get it to, I was going to get our IT department or somebody in IWN Land in IT. Who's the other gentleman that sometimes joins us? That's the IT whiz in this group.
He was from Wannon, wasn't he?
Yeah, get his
Hang on,
name
I'll
out.
tell you.
It'll come to me, but he was great at kind of looking into the because we're giving people electrical equipment. We really need to make sure the IT departments are supportive, and that we can. I asked if you've used the controller because if we get Water Corps coming back to us saying, oh, the instructions aren't really quite clear on how to use it, we need to be a bit of an expert around the products we're giving out to be the go-to people to. Because I couldn't. It'd probably be if we go. I have no clue
Michael
how it
Tennant
works.
was his name, Heidi.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whether we have once the items do come in, we really like block out half a day or something like that to really be almost experts in our own kind of setup.
Yep.
Cool.
Have
a controller play. Like that'd be a fun day to have. Because I'm definitely interested in the controller too. I saw that you can change the actual mouse font on the screen with it as well. There's a whole suite of stuff that you could do as well with the controller.
Nice.
So definitely.
Do we want to follow up with the other person that was in the meeting, or do you want me to follow up on some attachments to this controller?
That'd be great, Pete.
If they're available, absolutely. Because it was quite cheap too. I think it was $100, the controller. Yeah,
the controller itself isn't that dear, but you obviously, it's like a board that you can plug everything into. So we're going to have to, as part of a kit, if we're sending it out, have a couple of things that can plug into it to show people how it works. So whether we, try and focus on two sort of areas, someone with limited mobility with their hands or something, and then another port, something else. I'm not sure.
I wonder if that's an opportunity to to look into that, but also to maybe not just hand over a box with the stuff in it, because I'm guessing if people pick it up, oh, it's cool, but it's still in the box. I'm not going to set it up. I'm not going to. So I wonder if when we're delivering these boxes too, there's a bit of a setup or a liaison with the IT departments that we not spoon feeding people, but we're not going to make life hard for them that they're not going to try out this stuff either.
Yeah. I'm just on the Xbox, on the Microsoft website, and the only thing that they've got, they're obviously calling it an adaptive controller, but I'm trying to see whether what accessories they've got, and at the moment the stuff that's on there is the actual like the Xbox controller, and they've got headphones on there, but I can't see anything else. So I think that there would be definitely value in looking at what other attachments and potentially, the video that you shared with us, Pete, the one that actually showed the person utilising it.
Yeah.
Maybe we take it from that to say, well, what's
it compatible with?
Yeah, what are they using it connected to? So
the guy that put me onto it, I'll suss him out because he was sort of the one. I went to him because one of our IT guys used to have his own shop selling computers and stuff. So I actually went to him and said, is there any keyboards or mouses? And then he put me in this direction. So I might go back to him and say, well, okay, this being a sort of something you can plug different items into. Where can you get these items and what to avoid? And so, that's fine. I'll follow that up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. We definitely don't want to make things harder. I know even in myself, if I try and plug something in and if it doesn't work, I go, oh, nah, next. Like, I think that's just the world we live in that we like. So maybe when we do have a play too, it is we have some cheat sheets in there, or especially with the wireless headphones as well, because I know you have to connect into Bluetooth on your phones to so once you've finished with them to disconnect and stuff like that. So a real kind of easy to follow 5-step with each of the items too. We could just put laminated sheets in the toolkit even, and people can flick through. Alrighty, so
next is the actual Knowledge Hub, Heidi. So it's probably a good segue. Hang on, I'm just bringing up the page just so we'll just go through this really quickly because I think we've got some actions that we need to take. So the Knowledge Hub page itself has been updated with all of the content we have so far. So the D&I, we've put in the new image here, and I might, if everyone's okay, I might put the events down lower on the page because otherwise people have to scroll to go to I suppose the projects that we're working on. So I might just switch that around and just, not that I'm trying to make them less important, but just I think that people are probably going to come to this page to find information. And I might even switch the inclusion toolkit up to the top of the list. So then it's right there in everyone's face. It's got, as I said, all of the links in here and of the stuff that we have. But as we get some pictures, we can also update the pictures for
to be our own
individual.
Our toolkit pictures. Elisa, is there any links? Can we link this via our LinkedIn's or our networks? Or do people have to be signed up members to see this certain page?
To the Knowledge Hub? Yes, they have to be members, but it's not. This is the thing. Like what we're trying to do is get people to sign up. So we have. I think it's a good way to promote. You can find this information on our Knowledge Hub once you register. So all that's going to prevent is anyone who's outside of our membership being able to get into this, I suppose, controlled space of information. But anyone who, once they've registered, if they, they can either tick all programs, or if they just specifically want to tick the Diversity Inclusion Technology program, then they'll get access to this. So all of the information is in here. I've just tried to streamline it. If they want every piece of information about Diversity and Inclusion Technology program, they just have to go over to this Documents tab over here on the left. But I think that what I've identified is people are looking for specific information, and so creating a page. So here, this is where you can do your quick link. So, hey, I want to go to the inclusion toolkit. So I'm just going to click here and it'll take you straight to that on the page. So
I must say it's inclusive. The design of the actual page is really easy, and for me with a vision impairment, like it's easy to read. It's the font, everything about it is clear.
Good. And I'm trying to make sure. And so Heidi, if you're scrolling through, and I don't know whether you cross-check if I try and put alt text behind pretty much any image that I put in there. And look, I keep it fairly boring and high level, but it's just something that's in there. So I'm always mindful of trying to make it creative after your comment, but I think that it's just something that it's just where we can. I think we should put the alt text in there, and it's just making that information available to people. So the contrast should be fine. I've always, but again, making the font big enough and things like that, just let me know if there's anything that has to be done as well. So that really is the update for both of those sections that we've got, because we've got the portal on the library, and the upcoming diversity and inclusion events would be our International Women's Day, which I believe, Heidi, you are part of this week as well.
I said yes. So I don't know if any of you know. So we've got a Vic Water. So being in the diversity and inclusion team, I'm used to running our own internal events, but it's really great lately that all of us diversity inclusioners get together with Vic Water and pool our resources, pool our money, and get real bang for your buck. Guest speakers, events, and I'm sure all of you would have seen on Thursday we've got so Carly Finlay is one of my absolute idols. She's a disabled journalist, has a medical condition, and she's going to be our guest speaker for International Women's Day event. But I've been roped in to MC it, so I'm stealing your gig, Jason. I need some tips. I could talk underwater, but
firstly, learn how to use the unmute when you start talking.
Yes.
There's your first tip. Don't have a line of 3 people in the same room trying to have a conversation online. That's the second tip.
I'm doing it from home. I said I'm doing
Very
a working
good.
from home day. No kids home. So, and I think I'm just emceeing. I think I'm just guiding the conversation and passing on to different people that are introing, welcome to country, and then I'll just ask the question. So,
yeah, just keep it light, keep it natural. You know, big smile, a lot of humour, that sort of stuff. You know,
no pressure.
I can get away with dad jokes, so you know, it's
a mum.
doing
Got some
my
mum
thing.
jokes.
Got some mum jokes. Trot them out.
I think it helps when
natural.
I followed her career and I know who she is and what she's about.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. But I think they are, so RSVP wise, I think they're nearly at 1,000, they were saying.
Yeah, good.
So I don't know. That's it's one to yeah. It's
You
one
know,
to tune into.
The hardest part of a session when you're emceeing is the first couple of minutes when everyone's arriving, right, and it's not started yet. So you've got, you know, I don't know, maybe several hundred people in this particular case of people just sort of sitting there staring at each other on, you know, Zoom or Teams. So it's having something like a question, or, you know, hey, like you asked today, what's your diversity moment this week, or something like that, right? Or what's your women's moment this week, or I don't know. You come up with some little snazzy thing to get a conversation flowing, and then when it's time to go, okay, well, let's
Let's crack on.
people here, it's 2 past out. Let's crack on.
Oh, I know, and I'm trying really hard with my diverse language, and I've been using like hello friends a lot, like not ladies and gentlemen, and just really being purposeful. And I've said enough welcome to countries now that I sound like a robot. So I've been really trying to kind of personalize it a little bit. So but still stay quite serious. So I think I'll be okay. But yeah. I think there was no one else left.
You'll be fine. You'll, like I said, just keep it natural and just, you know, as I said, have those conversation points, and you know, half the battle is just having the right question to ask at the right time. That's all.
Yeah, and it's it'll be good to plug because I have to introduce myself, so I'll do the whole Heidi from Central Highlands Water and IWN program manager. I'll have to. You know me, I'll get it in there. So it'll be good to share. They're recording it too, so it'll be great for the D&I side of IWN to share it afterwards to say one of our own, or like, you know, that kind of that we're involved and we're all over this and we want to be.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. Watch this space, but don't watch it if I'm nervous enough as it is. But
we know that we'll all be in your corner, Heidi, so it's all good.
I'm amongst friends, and tomorrow we've got our own internal. We're doing a storytelling circle, so a gender equality storytelling circle. So we have no speaker at our work, just 55 RSVPs, yes, all standing in a circle, share and hoping to God, whoever's up there, that people start sharing their moments when maybe they're a male with caring responsibilities, or they work part-time, or they took paternity leave, or a woman in a non-traditional role. So it's just a true half hour. Anyone can share a moment in the circle. So that's really exciting. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because it is Anita's turn to take it away with her presentation.
Thank you. Now let me try to work out how to share this. Normally it says share in Teams, but I can't see that.
Oh, maybe because
it's right next to the leave button up the top right-hand corner.
don't hit
in
leave
Teams.
though.
But don't hit leave. Whoever
I'm
designed the share button next to the leave is just, anyway.
Wait there.
Having
Sorry,
a laugh.
somehow I've minimized you instead.
Double click on us.
I'm in share. Where does it say share in Teams? I can't see that.
Oh, what platform are you on?
I'm in Teams.
Oh yeah, so if you just go share.
Standout content. Yeah, but
It'll
that
come up.
shares your screen, doesn't it?
Yeah. What do you want to share?
Oh, normally you share it in Teams, and so it comes up differently, like better. You don't know what I'm talking about.
So if you just open the file.
Did that work?
No.
Not yet.
You can't see that.
So if you just open the file and then you go to share, you can just share whatever's on that screen, and then if it's in PowerPoint, you just go into screen show.
Okay. Swap presenter here.
Yes, swap presenter, and yep.
Is that it? Can you see it now?
Nope.
Nice.
Do you want to try and send the presentation to one of our...
Email.
All right, I can share the screen. I was just trying to do it like in a fancy way, that's all. Okay.
Just don't email it to me. I want to know.
Through to you, Elisa, too. I found some
Can you see it
buttons.
now?
There you go. Yeah. Beautiful.
I was just trying to do it in a fancy way, that's all.
Just go to presentation or screen show, whatever.
Down here.
Yep. Down the little computer icon in the...
Yeah, I did press it. Anyway, I'll just go through it because I don't want to take up time. I just pressed it and it didn't work.
Oh.
So the purpose of my presentation is just to share what we've been working on in South East Water with our community grants program. So my role in South East Water is to manage the community grants program, as well as I manage the Customer and Community Advisory Council and work on various stakeholder and community type projects. So we've been trying to, I think, look at how we can penetrate our diverse community and get messages out to our diverse community more. And after our last grant round, we decided, well, even during our last grant round, we decided that we'd look at what can we achieve. So we've tried to focus this on using technology to engage our diverse communities to make it relevant to this group. Just a quick note, all of the photos and imagery that you'll see taken throughout the presentation have been gathered as a part of our community grants program. So firstly, I'm just going to try to contextualise our grants program, talk about the challenge as we perceived it, and then why grants programs are usually put in place, what projects we seek to support through our grants program, and how else a grants program can be used. So within South East Water, we've now run 3 grant rounds through our community grants program. It was first established in 2019. We then ran it again, and that was only a pool of 35,000 that we distributed. Then we then ran it again in 2020, and I took over the program and facilitated the 2022 grant round, and we've just launched our 2023 grant round. So at the moment we have $100,000 that we distribute through the program, and our goal really is to try to distribute those funds to areas of need within our service area. Community groups are eligible to apply, and we try to focus our investment in areas of environment, health and livability, affordability, and water security and education. So to start with, when we first established the grants program, we didn't have a community strategy, and I think it's been a journey over the last 3 years in developing our community strategy, and it is yet to be socialised fully within our business. But where we're at the moment, we have developed this strategy that you can see here. This is a very simplified version of what we're seeking to achieve. But the ultimate goal and what we want to achieve is to build community trust so that we can engage with the community in our service area in a more meaningful way. Our grants program fully supports our community strategy. in that it increases our visibility in community. We run it regularly so the community know that it's a consistent program, and it aligns to our values and our community focus areas identified in the strategy. I'm not going to go through every single thing because there's too much detail in the slides, but I'm just skimming through. If you have questions or if there's something I'm not touching on, please feel free to ask a question. So we have profiled our community and it is very diverse. And as you can see from this slide, there's 1.77 million people in our service area. We've got 17 different councils, different federal electorates, state electorates. But if we're looking at languages and customers that we are trying to communicate with, we've got over 200 languages. 33% don't speak English at home. We know that the postcodes where our called customers live are postcodes that are overrepresented on our customer care program. We don't have data to drill down to say that they are called customers though. And we know that 46% of all people living in our service area have both parents born overseas. And one of our LGAs, City of Greater Dandenong, is the most culturally and linguistically diverse LGA in our service area, and only 29.3% of people that live in that LGA speak English at home. So a very, very diverse population. We also have 3 recognised traditional owner groups, 40% increase in people over the last this is the last census period, who identify as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander within our service area as well. So where we perceive our challenge is when we really need to engage with these diverse members of our community, are we successful in doing that? And how can we improve our engagement with them? How can we communicate messages such as boil water notices and other things that we need to communicate when we need to communicate it? Given that we have such a low social media reach compared to a lot of organisations, and the primary channel that we tend to use now and rely on is social media. And another debate entirely is whether that should be the primary channel and what other channels would work. And I think during COVID, it was learnt that by using community leaders in a lot of these different communities is the most successful way of communicating. At this point in time, our community section within South East Water isn't as established to be able to leverage those sorts of relationships, although we are in our infancy in developing them. So grants programs are usually put in place to support the community, make projects possible, give money to the community, etc. But what I'd like to ask, and what I've put forward within our organisation, is how can a grants program and technology be used together to engage diverse communities, and how can we leverage off that engagement to penetrate communities through messages that are easy, with nice, happy pictures and things that benefit those communities. And so obviously that's something that we can do through a grants program. So these are the projects we're seeking to support. We have in this grant round tried to plain language all of our communications. So we engaged Scope, who are plain language, and they also do easy English translations of documents so that they are more accessible. And what we're showing on this screen here now is the plain language representation of the words that I said to you before. So one of the key areas that the program is hoping to support is affordability, and the translation of that is projects that support community members who can't afford basic daily expenses right now. So that's actually what will be, in the public forum. Health and livability, people don't usually understand those words, and the translation here is projects that support the health of our local community with examples, and projects that make communities healthier and better places to live. Sorry, I think I got environment mixed up there. Environment was number 2, and that was health and livability. And lastly, we all talk about water security, water literacy, all these technical words, but do our community often understand what we're communicating with that? And I think all of us have realised, no, we need to use plainer language and more simple. And so what we've got here is projects that help people understand and act on issues relating to long-term water security, like water efficiency and integrated water management. And again, some of those are quite complex. So through our grants program as well, this was in our last grant round, we engaged Enliven because Scope was then tied up doing a lot of work for DPC and other government departments. to do an easy English interpretation of the words that we had around our grants program, who South East Water is and the community, what community is. And so you'll see this button just here that says Easy English Community Grants Information. That is on our website. It's on there in relation to our community grants. And we now have a specific page with all of the links through to all of our easy English interpretations on our website. And when promoting the grants program, we are using a certain amount, which is much higher than the 5% that we need to use in targeting called populations, in trying to target specific LGAs through our social media. And those links will be through to easy English information as well. So what is Easy English? It has plain languages, it's pictures and words. It also is accessible for other people that need accessible documents. So it's tagged and it can be used with a screen reader. And there's more examples on the link if anyone wants to touch there later. And this is an example on the right-hand side of the screen of the Easy English grants information. So this information is from South East Water. You can apply to South East Water for money to help your community group or charity. Grants program helping communities, and then a very simple explanation of what a community is. And these are the images that we'll be using on social media to tell the story this grant round. So we're trying to include photos of our diverse population, diverse ages, diverse community groups. And we've also included the logos this time round. We feel that that adds to the credibility of the program, but also for people in the community that already have a connection with some of the logos. We're hoping that it reaches out to them as well. So I think in relation to our success measures for the program, we've got specific success measures around the number of called applications, the number of First Nations applications, etc. So, and these are some of those success measures here. So you can see last grant round we had a few, and this grant round we've really increased our targeting. So to target diverse communities and increase penetration. So we are using, as I've said, increased diversity in images, targeting through social media. We're targeting through media as well. So our media coverage, we're specifically targeting the LGAs with high called populations. We're aiming to get more than one application from a First Nations community group. The last two grant rounds, we've only had one. Both those groups were successful. And to also increase overall views on social media content by 10%. And we're just developing a few other measures at the moment. And this just gives an overview of how our campaign approach has changed from 2019-22, see with the little cartoon images that a lot of people use, to now images with real people that represent the areas that we are aiming to support. I know that's all very fast, sorry. Does anyone have any questions? I'm conscious of the time.
That was brilliant. Oh my God. I'm absolutely, my brain is racing right now, because not only does it work for your customers, but I'm thinking of ways it can work within like recruitment or those kind of areas as well. I think so I'm in Ballarat, Central Highlands Water, not complete opposite community or demographics. So we haven't done anything like this within our business. I even touched on any of this. So I wonder have you shared it within other water authorities?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
So we did apply for some, I don't know, there's some water type award last year. We applied for that and we didn't get the award anyway. But this grant round, we didn't apply on the basis of what we're doing, in trying to penetrate these communities. This grant round, we're hoping we've got more comparative data to be able to show, hopefully, that the approach works. So I think we've got all of this in theory, and we're really hopeful that it works. We do know still that there will be populations that it doesn't work. So we know that there's elderly, for example, that, don't use social media, don't have access to technology. But we do have other, I think, avenues that we want to explore in the future that we use. For example, like print media and posters, say, you know, within community centres, within MPs' offices, within council, those sorts of things. This grant round and last grant round, we use emails to send to local MPs and to councils, and in that we include like sample social media posts, GIFs as well. So they've actually got rolling images. So we ask them to put it into their newsletters. We ask them to share it onto social media and to watch what's happening. And to close the loop, we then write back to them to advise who in their areas has been successful and what they were successful for. And with the MPs, we invite them along to any events and promotional opportunities that we have. And we're also using, and I forgot to mention this in there, but we're also now trying to use these opportunities with grants, successful grant community groups, to be able to communicate core business messages. So one of the grant applicants from last grant round was St Kilda PCYC, and they needed to install a grease trap. And so we're looking at going there and trying to use the photos and images to communicate trade waste messages, which everyone knows really hard to communicate. How do you ever get trade waste into the media, or, you know, people reading it on social media? This is going to be, you know, a more sexy image, if dare I say it.
It's that storytelling piece too, though. It's the real life examples of.
It is. It's the real life examples. Like, they had a problem, they applied for a grant, they got the grant, they've been able to put their grease trap in place. It means improved community programs for youth that are very disadvantaged. So there's a lot of great news stories around it. We've got another grant recipient who is at Moonlight Sanctuary, and it's a wet lab, so it's water testing that they're going to be doing, and we've supplied all of the kits for their water testing lab that's going to be open coming up in about April. And that's an amazing opportunity, you know, to talk about innovation as well as to talk about water testing, school groups coming through, building that level of understanding of sustainability in our community. So the opportunities are just endless if you approach it in the right ways. Jason.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, fantastic, Anita. I don't know what you were worried about. That was awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much. Hey, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about okay, so a year after the grant or 6 months or whatever else, we're going back to them and saying, hey, how did that go? You know, what did you do with the money? Show us and make a little, you know, montage video of here's the impact of the grants that we put in place.
We don't do videos, but I monitor all of the grants, and so I know when they're all nearing completion. We go out and we take photos. So a lot of these images that you see are when we go out and take the photos of when they've completed, and we get a completion report in with all of the details of how it delivered for community, etc. We've just got a limited budget for videos. So we do have a social media person who we can occasionally get out. We have done some videos. So if you look back through our socials, we did, I think it was an SES video last time, but we tend to use the videos for promoting the next grant round as opposed to this is what was achieved. Just because our budget is so limited. And so our grants program has been tied to our current pricing submission. So we put a GSL in place for whenever we impacted on community groups activities and beaches were closed due to sewerage spills, that we would fine ourselves, and that would go into the grant program. So our pricing submission ends, as many others do, this year. And at the moment, the GSL has been debated about how are we going to change it the next grant round. And it's going to be a broader GSL around, I think, water quality and fining due to the number of households and the length of the duration of the interruptions, etc., etc. So at the moment, that's not yet quantified, but our goal would be that those funds feed into our grants program.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe the organisations, the recipients of the grants, could do, you know, a short social media type video. You know, if we as the Water Authority go out and spruik our own, you know, pat ourselves on the back, it's one thing. But if the recipients do it and tag us into it, I think it has a fairly high impact. So, you know, PCYC with their 30-second video of their new grease trap that was, you know, under the community grant of, you know, seriously, people will listen to that. They won't listen to Southeast Water, but they will listen to, you know, PCYC doing it and spruiking it and tagging you guys in. So just thinking, you know, maybe 180 degreeing the comms.
Yeah, it'd be great. That'd be great if we could. Well, let's dream that we can do that. But there are a lot of improvements. Like where we're at, we've identified, heaps of improvements. But I think each year you can implement a certain number, and this is the journey that we're on at this point. But thanks, Jason. Appreciate the feedback.
It's all good. I'll put in an email address for your counterpart at GWW who runs the community grants there. So you might want to. It's Graham Holt.
Thank you.
I don't know if you know Graham.
No.
But, no. All right. So
I know Graham.
Yeah, Graham's a good guy. So
he worked here.
He did. He sure did. So he and I go way back, and he's actually a referee for this job of mine. So I'll pop his details in the chat.
Thank you.
And even if you shared, Anita, if you shared that presentation, like I know, are you willing to share if I shared it with our comms and engagement team? I know we do a grants program, but I'm not to that extent. Definitely not.
Yeah, sure. I'm more than happy to share it. I've updated the one that I circulated to you, so I'm happy to share this one.
Reshare it to us, and it's great. We do it so as part of my role. So we do our diversity and inclusion events, and we've just started to go out to kind of trade shows and like our local pride events, but it's very kind of cultural day of significance. So. But not a whole targeted program like that. So yeah, I'd definitely love to get the ball rolling.
It's a lot of fun. I say to everyone, I think I have the best job in the organisation because I get to go out and visit community groups, and I'm giving people money, and what more can you want?
Yes, definitely good. Thank you so much for sharing, Anita. I realise we're just right on time now. Is there anything else anyone needed to share with the group urgently, or we can utilise our chat and the Knowledge Hub as well if anyone wanted to share anything? All good?
I just want to let you know that I added in the dollars for the budget for February EG meeting, Heidi. So that's all A-OK with the EG. So we've got the money there to buy all that stuff. And Pete, you've put a whole lot of stuff into the chat as well, yeah?
Yeah, while we're going, because I've got a fair bit on my plate at the moment, I just quickly did a bit of, there's one kit you can buy with buttons, like big buttons, and then I'll throw a joystick in. So I'm guessing at least that gives us a few options. But I will touch base with my IT guy and just say, is there recommended brands or something to try and, but there was just a couple of options, and that might give us a bit of a price bracket too, because
do we have to buy an Xbox for it to work? Is that what you're saying, Pete? You have to buy an Xbox to go with it, and you're signed up for the trial as well?
Your kids can trial it, Heidi.
But if you want to buy one, that's fine. But I don't think we need one.
We could. It goes in a chill out room, and it's time to wind down for you.
It could go the other way.
We'll put the twins and Lacey in a room.
It could be going in there and taking some frustrations out on something.
Special note to look at those invoices quite carefully when they come in.
Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening. Eliza, you're on mute.
She says goodbye.
She says goodbye.
Yeah, and goodbye, everyone. Great to see you, she says. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.